All right.
Hey.
Let's go again.
All right, we back.
Uh so what do we see? We saw the Jubilee podcast of liberal lesbians debate conservative lesbians.
Yep.
Um thought it was pretty cool. Oh, there she is.
There she is.
All right.
Hear me?
Yeah, let's go.
Yes.
Yeah, let's go.
Yes. Let's go. Oh my god, what is your shirt? I love you see her
Fuck the
shirt.
government, not the kids. Yep. Okay. Fair.
On that note.
Super fair. Not mad at it.
Oh my god, awesome.
So yeah, we were just starting. We saw the Jubilee liberal lesbians versus conservative lesbians. Um and I had absolutely like 3 takeaways from it, which I want to get into with both of you. Pause. But so here's the podcast if you want to check it out. This is what we're talking about right now. Um the first one that I absolutely love was the fact that when I watched it, I thought that it was a very good example of how liberals don't want to hear you, right? Like they just want to argue and they don't want to hear what like there it's just defense by default. They don't want to actually hear what the conservatives are saying. I don't know if you got that, but I did. It
Well, they're not listening like to actually like hear you. They're just like listening for their opportunity to respond to you. And so those are two different things, you know what I mean? Like if I really care about what you are saying, like I'm going to intently listen to you because I want to understand where you're coming from and perhaps I can learn something new. That's not the position, because if they were to come from that position, then they wouldn't be on that side.
yeah, that's absolutely what I thought too. And mostly where I got it. Oh, did you mute yourself?
Oh yeah.
Okay, okay. Okay, I was just checking. I don't want to do the sound thing that we did.
I just figure like if I'm not talking, it's better to like
Yeah, it's fine.
cancel it.
But I just mostly from uh, when Amber, she is the and internet, forgive me, she is the masculine woman of color lesbian that's on that
Mhm.
podcast,
Yeah.
right? And so when I say that liberals don't want to hear, the thing that she wanted to throw at you fast and furious was, you're coming from a place of privilege. It's very privilege of you that you don't understand what I'm saying, that uh you know you don't understand where I'm coming from. So I don't know about you, having someone tell me that I'm privileged and not knowing who I am, and that bothers me. So I don't know if that's the same for you, but when that word started to get thrown around, um, eh, I have a hard time listening.
Well, it's privilege that she even gets to say that. Like it's privilege that we get to do anything that we do. It doesn't really matter. Everybody has their own privilege in one way or another. Maybe financially, maybe spiritually, maybe you know, there's so many different aspects. Nobody gets the same deck of cards. You know what I mean? That's just how it is. Like it's different from every human to the next. But it's insane to me that they will be like, don't assume my gender, but they can assume my privilege.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like it's whenever it's convenient for them, all right. But if it ain't convenient for them, I can't believe you would, use your privilege in such a way. It's just another form of gaslighting people into thinking the way they want you to think. Not they don't want individuality. Like that's not what they're looking for.
I babe, and go ahead if you.
No, the only thing I was gonna say is that saying the word privilege started to be almost like shots from both sides. The minute one side was like you're privileged, the other side was like no, you're privileged, and it was like a back and forth of who's going to throw the most shots. And so I think when it started to get like that, that's really when I felt like that nobody was listening. Like there was zero type of possibility to meet in the middle at all. And I also just something that babe you and I talked about is when she started to say like you have privilege, you will never walk the same way that I will walk, you will never walk the same life that I walk. We also choose how we show up. We also choose what we like: short hair, long hair, dreads, comfortable dresses, pants. Like we're very much in a society and in a world where we get to choose how we look. Yes, our bodies are our bodies, and we're gifted them when we're born. Some of us are tall, some of us are short, some of us have wider shoulders, whatever. But at the end of the day, we get to choose how we show up. And if that gives me more privilege than someone else, that feels like.
Are you talking about showing up masculine or feminine?
Yeah, but I'm just saying in general, like it's, kind of like what Jenna was saying. It's like you say that I'm privileged, but then you're expecting me to see you for exactly who you want to be seen all the time. So it's like it's almost like a lot of the conversations and a lot of the points they were trying to make, like they cancel each other out. I know, babe, we talk about that all the time, but it's like, how can I follow this conversation? How can I
They always do.
learn? How can I try to empathize if literally every other sentence that you're saying cancels out the one before? That's really what I got from it a lot, was just like, okay, hold on a second. The last sentence you just said is the complete opposite of what this sentence was. So which one are you actually feeling?
For me, and when she started saying privilege and woman of color, I was immediately like, my brain just shut off, because I was just like, well, you're going to play that card. Obviously, in this right now, there's nothing we can do about that card, because you know what I mean? That card just wins all the time, no matter where you are. So you're going to say that. I appreciated the girl on the conservative side, who was like, well, I'm also a woman of color.
I was gonna say, she was throwing the card at someone that this whole idea about don't assume that you know who I am and how I identify and like who I want to be. Don't assume that you know that, but I'm going to assume that I know exactly that you're not that. You know what I mean? Whereas her, she's like, I'm half black. And the conservative woman was like, well, so am I. And it was very much like the eyes got big of like, oh shit, because they didn't even ask. Like there wasn't even a question of like,
well, this is fun because I'm half black. I don't show up half black, but my dad's definitely very black. But no one's going to be like, oh, you're half black. They're going to think I'm whatever they think I am, whatever they see me as. So can I play that card?
Why would you play that card?
Right.
And that's what Amber did a lot. Was it didn't matter if it was about her color, didn't matter if it was about her masculinity, like it didn't matter about her lack of privilege. In every scenario, Amber is a victim. And when you are a victim, you have no room to be a survivor.
I like that. I like that a lot.
I mean, that's the truth. Like, I'm either going to be that victim and I'm going to be in that mindset that I'm a victim, or I'm going to be in that mindset that I'm a survivor. That, what happened to me doesn't make me who I am. It's just something I went through. It was just part of the journey, whereas people that live in victimhood, that's what they revolve everything around. Yeah. Well, I couldn't get here because of, I didn't make that right decision because of whatever that is. There's always an excuse. There's always a reason why I can't quite get it because I was victimized.
I think it's funny, and I definitely want to talk about this a little bit with you, Jenna. I I think it's funny that she used the mask lesbian card to play. Um, and it's hard for me because I would never play that card. I just and I think that's kind of a little bit of the difference between liberals and conservatives is just like I understand that as a masked lesbian, things are going to be a little bit harder for me. I get it. This is this is how I show up. This is how I choose to dress. Is how I choose to cut my hair. It's it it it's a me thing. And so things are going to be a little bit harder for me and I'm okay with that. And not everybody is going to agree with how I am or my lifestyle or whatever. And I get that and I'm okay with that and I'm trying to force those people who don't agree with me to agree with me. It kind of feels like the liberal lesbians were trying to get everybody to agree with everything that they were saying and everything that they like the umbrella term for it's an like woman is an umbrella term. We have to believe that. That's how it felt to me as they were talking. And it's just like I'm a masked lesbian. It's all good. If people don't like it, if they don't accept it, I'm okay with that. And also, they don't have to believe that. I'm not trying to make anybody believe anything that I'm saying or, you know what I mean? Like, I just want to walk through life without ridiculousness.
I mean, I completely agree with you. Um, but I don't think that it's about getting anyone to be on their side if they have a difference of opinion. And you can't come to a common ground when you have to be right. Like, I don't have to be right today. You know what I mean? Like, I have no insecurity in saying, hey, Garrett, you know what? I messed up. I did this I did this inappropriately. Or, hey, I got that wrong. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. You know what I mean? Like, I am able to do that. I'm able to receive correction. Not all the time. I'm not perfect. You know what I mean? Like, but today I am more likely to get more out of something because I'm willing to listen, take that correction or take that 2 cents and process it and go, you know what, that makes sense. Or no, I stand my ground. This is what I mean. And so on and so forth. Like, there's a difference.
Yeah.
Like, but every time before I make that decision, I'm at least processing the information that is being given to me at that time, whether it come from a friend, a significant other, a boss, a random person, a customer, whatever. I take in the information, I listen to what is being said, and then I respond.
Yeah.
Like, instead of like thinking I already know what Garrett's gonna say to me, and I'll be damned if she's gonna say it. I'm gonna finish her sentence, and I'm gonna assume what she was about to say, and counteract it with my argument.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna get through to you. I'm not gonna feel good about me because like I'm all up on you, and we're not gonna go anywhere. Had
Right.
I just like done these like little things and actually listened, like maybe we could get further, to where we want to be.
Yeah,
Yep.
and I think that that has a lot to do with that whole victim mentality kind of thought process that you were talking about. You know, when you're in that victim mode all the time and you're in that victim mindset all the time, what are we always doing? We're being reactive. I'm going to react to what you say. I'm always going to have a reaction to what you say. I'm always going to be ready to react to what you say. And you don't actually get the chance to process and then respond in a way that's also saying, it's okay, but we're never going to agree on this specific topic. And that's also okay. I'm not reacting towards you. I'm not calling you out your name. I'm not getting angry. I'm not losing sleep and I'm not frustrated all day because you choose, or because we can't come to that common ground. We can't come to that middle ground on certain topics. But when you're in that mentality or that victim mentality, you can't respond because you're always in flight. You're always in fight. You're always in that triggered, hyperactive, hypersensitive, anxious type of energy. And when you're always in that, you can't sit back for a second and be like, you know what? I've never thought of it that way. You know what? Maybe this part, maybe I can see it differently this much. And that's enough for us to be able to continue the conversation. Again, you might get this much each time. Oh, you know what? I've never thought of it that way. Or thank you for explaining it that way. It makes a little bit more sense. Doesn't mean that I agree with you, but it's allowing us to continue the small the bigger conversations to move the needle a little bit in some ways, if that aligns with who you are or not. But that is only when you're not in a victim space, because you're heightened all the time. It doesn't matter. And I think that, babe, I mean, I won't speak for you, but for me, getting out of the victim mindset and mentality that I was in from my past and traumas and things that I just never dealt with, and being so heightened and so reactive on everything that was said, everything that someone posted, every support that someone had, especially with Trump. I was like, how can you do this? How can you believe this? How can you do that? And it wasn't about them.
The MAGA hat killed me for
Yeah.
the longest time, dude. I saw a MAGA hat and I was like, oh, I'm ready to fight.
Because I made it about me. Because it was about how I was feeling about the things that I hadn't worked through, and not being willing to listen to the other side. And so through this journey for me, I'm finally in a space where I'm not in that victim mentality anymore, and I'm able to sit down and have an uncomfortable conversation.
Well, it was
or a challenging conversation.
That Amber and Ariel, right? Like, they were friends,
Mhm.
and then their politics stopped them from being friends, right? I had a lot of that in 2020, the elections. What, you know what I mean? I really did, and I had to, like, now, or at least the beginning of this year, when I kind of got out of the liberal fog, had to call and apologize to people that I was just like, I went liberally nuts on people and was like, my bad, dude. I'm so sorry. It took like 2 years for me to see it, but now I see it. My fault. But for me, it doesn't feel like liberals can do that. It doesn't feel like, oh, hey, maybe when I say the word privilege, that's, oh, you grew up just like me. Oh, you didn't have a million freaking dollars and people helping you out, and like, you also had to pull yourself up from the bottom and earn all of this by yourself. You also had to get through a whole bunch of, like, they just can't do it. It's just, you're privileged, I'm not privileged, so I'm going to tell you how much your life was great and how horrible my life was. And what? Like, nobody wants to hear that, because you went through your own stuff. You don't know what anybody's story is. And it was sad for me to see that, like the Amber Ariel thing. It was sad for me to see that they fought over politics and no one could say sorry. No? I don't know.
But that's a maturity level. You know what I mean? It really is. It's a maturity level. I mean, it also goes right back to that, like that victimhood, like having to always be in that defense. Like, always got my elbows up. You know what I mean? Like, whoa. You know what I mean? I can't let it down. I can't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm always fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
There you go.
kind of like when I relinquished, like, I'm like, hey, God, I really can't control others. I can only control me. You know what I mean? Hey, I'm going to let you handle them, and I'm going to, I'm going to do what's asked of me, and and it's to love one another. And that's what I try and do. Am I perfect every day? No, I'm not. Ask the people at work. Yeah.
Hey, Jen, I really wanted to ask you this. Kylie and I have talked about it a couple of times, but I wanted to know what you thought about it. So, I obviously we're talking about the conservative liberal lesbian podcast, but also the conservative liberal trans podcast. Um, both debates, they had a non-binary person in both debates. They had a non-binary person in it, it was a
Yeah.
non-binary lesbian in the lesbian debate, and it was a non-binary something in the
The
trans
liberal.
debate. Yeah,
Yeah.
liberal, but they're both liberals. How do you how did you feel about that when it came to talking about lesbians in one debate and literally trans in the other debate? I'm just kind of curious how.
Well, I'll tell you, I don't know, like 10, 15 years ago, I was working as a cashier, and maybe I had not rung somebody up correctly, whatever it was. But the customer was like, whatever it is. And I'm like, I mean, like that hurt my feelings so much that, like, when I hear others refer to themselves as a they, a them, and it, I'm like, how sad is it that they dislike who they are so much is that they have to disassociate with their gender and their identity. Like, that's a really sad state to be in. Like, there's no freedom in that. There's no certainty in that. So you don't believe in yourself, nor do you believe in what you could be or how you could change. Like, I just feel like it's a really slippery slope, and it's actually I believe it's more like on the lines of self hate, that they don't believe in themselves and they would rather disassociate. Because I mean, I didn't like myself for a very long time. I was a cutter for about 15 years of my life, like horrible, like in the hospital, in, stitches and everything. I was horrible to me. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, so when I hear somebody actually identifying themselves as nothingness, as an it, a they, a them, not even worthy of a name, you know what I mean? Like, it breaks my heart because I remember what it was like. Like, people are like, Jana, you're just, like, you're just so bold and strong. And I'm like, I had to pretend until I did the action so I could change who I was. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't always that way. I
Yeah.
just wanted to be that way. It was just something I wanted to accomplish. And it took me a very long time, but I was able to do that. But it was only through action. Like, nobody came and saved me. Like, nobody was like, hey, I'll do it for you. It was going to be a decision that I had to make.
Do you guys
So,
think that's what it is now? Because I mean, I could probably say the same thing in my late teens that I was figuring it out and no one came and saved me and I had to just kind of figure it out. I mean, I didn't go through uh the cutting thing, but I had to figure it out. And do, do you think it's more or less like maybe this is they have people to come and save them and tell them and affirm everything that, hey, I feel like an it. Okay, cool, you're an it. Like maybe that's a thing that's happening right now that wasn't
well,
happening before.
well, because before, right, people would be like, Jana, why are you doing that? Why are you cutting yourself? Like, you're worth more. You know what I mean? Like, this is what they weren't encouraging me to do it, but I felt better when I did it. So
Yeah,
doesn't that mean that it's good because it made me feel better? Isn't that what really matters? So why weren't they affirming that? They weren't affirming it because that was delusional thinking.
right.
I was suffering from mental illness. That was what it was. It was mental illness. And until I made a decision to do something different for me, nothing was ever going to change. Like, yeah, I mean, honestly, like I was addicted to anything at all. It didn't matter what it was, whether it was cigarettes, whether it was alcohol, whether it was marijuana. It didn't matter. Like I was addicted to it all. Like anything to get out of myself. Whether
Yeah.
I was, you know what I mean? So, like, I have put a lot of those demons to rest, but it has taken many, 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 many years because these are all unhealthy coping mechanisms.
Yeah.
But I say all of that is if anybody would have affirmed my alcoholism, if anybody would have affirmed my self mutilation, like where would I be at? Would I be where I am today? I highly doubt it.
Mhm.
And so it's no different when you're affirming these genders and these ideologies and these, they, them pronouns. Like you're doing them a disservice by lying to them.
I
Like,
can't I
that's
can't
it.
say where I would be if anybody had affirmed whatever my thought process was, where like, and I say this, I always thought in order to be able to be with a woman, I needed to be a boy. And if anybody had ever affirmed that, I I mean, it was
You would have
definitely,
mutilated yourself.
yeah, it was definitely different back then, but who's to say that that wasn't something that I would have went and tried to do. But I didn't share it. Like, it wasn't, I kinda just figured it out by myself, which I don't think is a great thing either, but to yeah, no, I get it, and to tell that's why it was so hard for me with that podcast, was only because they just they didn't the left was just so much like, "You have to believe this." There can be nothing else that you can believe. I think they forget. I don't know if you remember the movie Boys Don't Cry. Do you remember that with Chloe
Uh-huh.
Sevigny? And I
Yep.
don't I don't think they remember how far we've come. And they're like, there's so many laws to hurt. We're under attack. Trans people are under attack. Gay people are under attack. We're all under attack. And in my mind, I'm kind of like, did you forget where we were and can't see where we have gotten to?
But where does the line end? Like, when is like too much? Too
But that's
much.
what I'm saying. We've gotten here. We
Right.
we hit the mountaintop.
But that's the whole thing is that that's never enough. Like there has to be like you really think that that's where they want it to end? I 100% believe that it's to lead you into pedophilia. 100%. That might not
That's
be
scary.
that might not be our intentions. That might not be our intentions, but it's their intentions, because if it wasn't, then why are they doing everything to push it? Like we can get married.
Right.
What else is there?
That's what I'm saying. We've
Like I'll
reached
never, if somebody doesn't like me because I'm gay, does it matter?
no.
No, who cares? Let them call me whatever, dyke. I don't care. Call me whatever you like, whatever makes your heart happy. That's what I think you should do, because that's freedom of speech. It's not hate speech. I don't
But
like you.
that was my thing always too, is like, I feel like we accept the fact that not everybody's gonna like us, right? And you can accept that at any stage. You have to learn how to accept that in high school. Like, in high school, you have to accept gay, like, you forget the gay straight thing. You just have to accept in general that cliques aren't gonna like you. And you're part of the chess club, so the athletes probably aren't going to like you. You're part of the athletes, so the smart kids aren't going to like you. Like, you have to learn that growing up, that not everybody is going to agree with you and not everybody's going to like you. I don't know how we got away from that.
Because we affirmed every delusion possible that we must be kind.
So what you're
It
saying is this
must be
started with
kind.
the stupid trophies where you just
Yeah,
Participation
thank you.
trophies.
God, I lost But yes, that like that.
Yes,
That's where
I
it started.
mean, not if you lost, it's because you're a loser, and you need to work harder, and maybe next year you'll win that trophy. Like I played softball. I sucked for years. For years, I was doing somersaults, picking up daisies.
That was me
Yeah,
on the soccer field. Hell yeah.
and then I
Yep.
was in the right field. You know what I mean? And I remember the first day I became good.
Yeah.
And after that, it was over. But it took, like, I had to wake up. You know what I mean? But then I went and I was on All Stars, and then I was on tournament team.
Yep.
Like it was just something that came, but it came through hard work. Like, why do you deserve a trophy if you suck?
Right.
Like, that's weird. Like, that's not teaching you anything. Like, because if you get a trophy, why even try any harder? Like, if you're already getting the
Yeah.
validation of winning without even winning, why would I ever, try to win?
It's like being a starter on a team. If you don't earn being a starter on a team, you're going to sit the bench.
Right.
Well, I
So
think
what's
that
the point?
goes to the whole like parents don't want to parent their kids either. Like, God forbid you tell your kid, no, you're a horrible fucking parent. You are an
Yeah.
asshole of a parent. And I look at,
Oh
our
God,
kid
we're
all the
bad
time.
parents then.
I'm an awful parent then. If saying no to my kid makes me an awful parent, like I'm an awful fucking parent. But I just look around and I'm like, where are the parents? When did we stop being parents? When did that shift happen? But I
You
wanted to
too?
ask you because a lot of what they say when they I saw a TikTok too, and I forget who put it up or whatever, where when they decide to finally come out as non-binary, it's almost like a sense of freedom for them. When you
Oh
hear
yeah.
that, what's your response to that? It's like,
Well, a lot of the time, a lot of the time, I'm an asshole. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's natural, and I'm really trying to work on not being so sarcastic all the time. I feel like that's something that God's asking of me. Like, you know what I mean? Like that I learned because sarcasm means right is to cut to the bone.
Oh,
And
okay.
then when I take it and I think about that, like, I understand at some point I was pretty much mentally unstable as well as some of the people that come across my feed. And sometimes, like, I'll have a gentle heart and, I could really see, like, how disturbed they are. But on other level is like, I care about people enough to tell them the truth. Like, you know what I mean? Like, well, dude, you are a man in a dress. Like, and if I were to date you, then that would be the long way around being straight. And so we're not doing that. And if I was going to be with a man, it would be a real man, not one that's in a dress.
Yeah, how did everybody
You know
feel
what I
about
mean?
that?
Like, that's weird.
How did everybody feel about that part of the debate? One of the prompts was,
Oh,
would you
being
date
trans,
would
would you be
would
with
you
a
date a
trans?
trans woman? Like,
Uh-huh.
so basically we'd be homophobic if we didn't date a trans woman. How did everybody feel
Oh,
about that?
and
I thought
then,
it was a
well,
trans
one of,
man.
No, us lesbians dating a trans woman.
Oh no.
right, because, yeah.
That was quick. Okay.
One of the conservatives said, you know what I mean, like, you know what I mean, like, you want to suck
Ariel.
dick, yeah. He
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean,
Ariel.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I'm like, I mean, it's true. Like, they're like, you're so crass, you know what I mean? Like, that's not what it's about. I'm like, well, if he has a penis, that's exactly what it's about. Like,
But
I
that's
mean,
the
at
thing
some
then.
point, you're gonna have sex with the genitalia. If you don't like that genitalia,
Yeah, you can't be attracted to genitalia, even though that's what all of our labels.
that's all it's about.
Yeah.
Is genitalia. I mean,
Then what?
to be honest, I mean, to be like honest, I mean, like any of these extra letters, like, mean nothing. I mean, you're either straight or you're gay or you like both. Like, I mean, like, because what bi is, now you're
Yeah, we have
pansexual. Like, what the?
so that
I
means
mean,
there's
like,
binary
right? You know
sexes.
what I mean? Like, it's just too much. You guys are doing the most, and it gives me a headache. Like, you make it so complicated. Like, for what? Why? Like, why is this your main focus? Is my question at this point. Like,
But also,
when you have to add all these letters, like,
yeah.
why is it like this? Like, why aren't you like looking at other issues?
But also too, you had that non-binary,
Liberal.
fine, non-binary lesbian on the
Yeah.
podcast. I still think that that's a very ironic label, but okay, fine. Non-binary lesbian. I'll go with it.
Non-man.
Non-man, yes, a non-man. So a girl. But she was on
Long
there.
story.
It's fine. I'm tired. I'm 42. I can't. I don't know. But she was, or they were on there. I didn't see anything other than a butch lesbian when I looked at her. Like, nothing. That's all I saw, and she was fine. Like, there was nothing wrong with her haircut, with her clothes, with the way she carried herself, with the way she like, you can just be a masculine female that's gay. There was, for her to have to feel like she has to say she's a non-binary lesbian, to me, in my heart of hearts, it just sounded like she just wanted to be a lesbian. And for some reason, she doesn't feel connected to the lesbian community without saying she's non-binary. That's all I heard. And that was sad for me. Like, girl, you just like a bowl cut because she had a bowl cut with a collar. Like, you're fine. What's the problem?
It's attention-seeking behavior. That's all it is. It's like, see me. I'm a little bit different, but I'm yet the same. But I'm like, that's just my personal opinion when I see it. It's just like I did a video about a trans man that's pregnant, and
Oh yeah, I saw that.
like, he got really upset with me and sent me like a direct box, and he was like, take that video down, or take my picture down. And I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do that. And he was like, you don't care about consent. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure consent was given when you posted it on your IG page and made your
Page
page public. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, so I had consent. Oh, it's nice to see that you don't care about consent. And I was just like, he was mad because I was like, I wonder if he's still on hormones. Like, you have that kid, and you know what I mean? But she's like, that's a lie. You know what I mean? I'm not on hormones. And I'm like, okay, like, that still doesn't negate the fact that the whole point was, if you were truly experiencing gender dysphoria, being pregnant would throw you into a mental unstable position, and that would not be worth going through. At that point, adoption or finding a surrogate would be the best solution to your problems. And
I feel like that goes back to the first time that it was ever in, I forget what magazine it was. Jenna, you'll probably remember, it was probably like Time magazine or something, when they were like, oh, the first male to ever give birth, but it wasn't a male, it was a trans man. And they put him on the cover of, I feel like it was Time magazine. And it was this trailblazing thing that happened, and none of us batted an eye. We were like, oh, cool, you're trans and you want to give birth. Like,
I made a video about it. So, I mean, I was never cool with that. I think
the first one, like, that was like 2000, like 8 or 9 or something.
Okay, that was before me even being
Yeah,
on.
no, this is,
I thought you meant like because
No,
it
no,
was
no.
like a couple years ago where they
Nope.
were like Calvin Klein.
no,
Yeah, that's what it was. Yep, Calvin Klein.
no,
Yep.
this one was way back. This was like
Oh, yeah.
9 or 10, 2009 or 10, and I mean, beautiful, beautiful woman, just trans, short haircut. I mean, to me, it just looked like a a butch lesbian giving birth. You know what I mean? She was gorgeous, whatever, and it was this whole trailblazing situation, and literally none of us batted an eye. We were just like, cool, if that's what you want to do. If you it wasn't a thing. This whole like agenda wasn't an agenda back then. It was just like, hey, if you want to be trans and you want to have a kid at the same time, nobody like, sure, fine, whatever. But they made it out to sound like a dude was giving birth, and we were all like, wait, what? And then we found out it was a trans man. We were like, oh, right, a woman's giving birth, no problem. And nobody batted an eye. And for me to see how it's gone from then to now, where they're like mandating that you believe a man gives birth, that is like, we were already there, dude. We were already just accepting, loving, happy people that were just like, hey, we just whatever. And then it just slowly, with the Caitlyn Jenner thing, and then it just slowly kept creeping up. And then, oh crap, I woke up in 2022, and now what is happening right now?
Well, I mean, like the person had a full on beard. Like, I mean, now what used to be a beautiful butch woman having a baby is, that is trans, probably wasn't having the same, not going through the same processes
No, it
a
was different.
trans woman today. I
Yeah.
mean, especially as far as medications are concerned.
No, I just
And
feel like that was the first foot in the door.
right. Like you have to have a little bit at a time. Like, you know what I mean? Just like I said before, nothing is ever good enough. It's always we need more.
Right.
So that it can never be like, okay, this where we can settle because we always have to be so progressive. Like, oh, conservatives, they like everything to stay the same. Like, well, I mean, like, not like the same, but kind of the same is nice. Like, predictability is nice, like within reason, like and within a justice, on some kind of level for everyone. Like I see it, but not everybody's gonna live in a just world. It's impossible.
Mhm.
There's no way for me and you and everyone in this world to never experience something that was unjust
Or hurtful. Just
ever.
hurtful.
Mhm.
Ever. Like I took I was at a meeting the other night, and it was in one of these churches, and it says uh we all should live in a just world. Like I'm like, wow, what a like
I mean,
unrealistic expectation you were giving to your congregation.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Because it's unrealistic, like to live in a world where things don't happen, whether they were intentional or unintentional. It's just, it's ridiculous.
Well, that goes to the part of the conversation where they just kept saying, "Well, the government does, the government has to do this, the government has to do this, the government has to do this," or whatever. We've talked about it before. People assholes are assholes, and they will always be assholes. And there are people in this world that just don't like you for any reason, any and every reason. And we're not all meant to be there. We're not all meant to be in the same room. We're not all meant to like everybody. But to sit here and to demand that either the government gets more involved or that every single person that's in your circle has to agree with you 100%. I always say, I don't I don't want anybody else in my bedroom. Like, stay out of my bedroom, stay out of my house. Like, you don't have to be there. But I feel like that the more that this extreme accept every part of me every single part of the day all the time, I feel like is a cause for a world where it could be like that. I feel like that if you're struggling with your sexuality and you're struggling with trying to figure out who you are, I believe that the most intimate people in your life get to choose to be a part of that. I don't think it needs to be every single person that you come in contact with, and it needs to be part of your introduction. And I just think that because of social media and because of this world that we live in, that now everybody has to accept every intimate part of you. So where is the privacy? Where is the intimacy that you get to have with a partner? Like, where is it?
You don't
You
get
know,
it.
and it's like, it's not enough. Like women, going back to what you said, it's not enough that you have your small group of people, your friends, your family, your community that you have. It's not enough that they support you and how in your life and how you're trying to figure yourself out, but the entire world has to accept you in every single part of the way.
which will never happen. And also, look, the three of us are sitting around right now talking about a topic that is very controversial and that I I don't know, not everybody's going to agree with. Shocker, but we're risking also people not liking what we're saying, not liking us and not, agreeing with us. And we're all sitting here saying, "Hey, you know what? It's okay that you don't. It's okay that you don't. We're still going to talk about it. We're still going to be us. And if you don't like it, that's fine. You don't have to." It like I no liberals are saying that. Conservatives are saying that. It's just like a good friend of mine puts out all the time. It's like you want to talk about pedophilia and whatever. It's not conservatives trying to normalize pedophilia. Like, right, the Catholic Church has a ton of accusers of pedophilia. The conservatives aren't saying, "Okay, let's make it normal." No, they're like, "Oh, this is what's happening in the Catholic Church. This is what happened in the Boy Scouts. This is what everybody's getting charged. Everybody's
Right.
getting." It's the liberals that are trying to make it normal. Maps. What is that? What? What are we doing? Like, that's it. Again, people are disgusting everywhere in every section, in every faction. But the truth of the matter is, conservatives are not trying to make it normal. Liberals are trying to make it normal right now. Hot take, but it's true.
It is.
Sorry.
I mean, and I believe that there's probably, conservatives that identify as conservatives that,
Like
probably
the
in
idea
that
of
thing,
map,
right?
probably.
You know
But
what I mean? But that goes to show, like, it doesn't really matter. There's people out there that's going to be like that. It's just important for us to make such a noise over these things, because if we don't start doing it now, just like you said before, like back in 2009, the first, man to have a baby, right? Like, because there was no backlash, because nobody was talking about it, uh, it became a little bit more acceptable. And now we're in 2022 where you can have a full ass beard and think you're a whole ass man, and then say that you are giving birth to a child. Like, uh, that's like unrealistic and it's delusional. But we set the ball rolling.
or have a
You
whole
know what
ass
I mean?
mustache and say that you're a woman.
Right.
Either one. Yeah,
Mhm.
we did.
You're a whole ass woman that's a whole ass lesbian, and I have to date you
Yeah.
with your whole ass dick. No, no, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am. I'm
Said
not
no,
interested.
ma'am.
Girl, I can't with you. Okay.
No, ma'am.
But
Well,
at least we're talking about it, and at the end of the day, whether you agree or you don't agree, like, it's a conversation, and if you can't have the conversation, what the hell are we doing? Like, that's
Yeah.
my that's
I
my
mean,
thought process.
I mean, just from this conversation, I will always say that carrying a child, being a woman that chose to carry a child, is still the most woman thing that I have ever done in my life, and you can't change my mind on that. It is a woman's gift to be able to birth a child, and you can't change my mind on that. And if I'm an asshole, or I'm part of the phobias because that is what I say and that is what I believe, then I guess I am. But I'm the woman that chose to have a baby, and I know what that feels like, and I know how special that is, and I truly believe that it's a woman's gift to do that. And if I'm an asshole because of that, then I'm an asshole because of that.
Isn't that so weird that that would be a reason for you to be an asshole?
A ridiculous thing to
Like
say.
it, like
Yeah.
like really? Like that's what it is?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. But that's
like, I don't want to know what I am then.
Dude, you're awesome.
Well, some would say I was super awesome.
You are super
You
awesome.
are very.
You know, I've started
super
saying
awesome.
super in
All the
front of
time.
everything now.
Yeah.
All the time.
I
I love it.
I had to
It makes
stop.
things more exciting.
Because I've always said that. I've like super bummed or super thrilled or whatever. And now all of a sudden she's starting to say it. And I'm like, talking to Jana too much. What are you doing over
No,
there? Just saying super all
yeah,
the time.
I am talking to Jana too much. But also too, like I have to stop myself from physically writing it to you because I'm like, do I sound like a complete dork right now? Because I'm writing. I'm like, hey, I'm super excited to talk to you later.
No, I'd love it. Like, I mean, I
good.
tell people that all the time. Like, conservative Barbie or Barbie conservative.
Yeah.
She like she was putting out. She gave me a call. She's looking for different people to do some Liberty Cart. I don't know what it is. Dude, can you go? Sorry, my golden retriever is laying.
Our fat dog is over here too. It's fine. Oh, yes, puppies.
This is Oakley. I have two. One's named Donald Trump, and the other one's named Oakley. This is Oakley.
I love you so much.
and people were like, "Why did you name him that?" And I was like, "So it'd piss people off."
Because it pisses me. Oh, because like when you yell at him when he's outside, come here, Donald Trump, come here.
Well, that, and I just thought it was funny. The orange man, the orange dog.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I love Trump, so I mean, I was like, what better way
that
to
clip? That is literally going to be the first collaboration that I put out tomorrow. Is that clip how you named your dogs? I'm not even kidding. And then I'll just keep going from there. But yeah, that'll be the first one.
Oh my god!
Oh, that would be awesome for you because apparently, you were triggered with those mega hats.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
Oh, the tongue is out and everything.
I know.
Oh my god, that dog is so cute.
He is like he makes me sick to my stomach.
I'm gonna clip that and make that the thumbnail when he just looked at you and you looked at him. That's great. He's awesome.
Like, hey, pay attention to me. Pay attention to me over here.
Oh, he'll steal our show. Oakley, go lay down. Go. God, he's so dramatic, just like
they
me.
all are.
They are, yeah.
They all are.
But
yeah, it was great jumping on here, and we should do this again. Listen, I feel like we could play some clips of some of them and react, and it would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I want
that other people can get like an idea of what we were talking about.
The only thing that I'm scared of is that their podcast is so large and you can only play like 7 seconds at a pop. So I'll find somebody to run that, right? Like, so that they can hit it. So, because if I have to pay attention to it, I'll let like 3 minutes play, and you can't do that. You can only let like 7 seconds go at a time.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, unless they give you permission, and then you can, but you can't. You can't just play someone else's
because they can.
Or you're not supposed to, because then the entire podcast,
they'll copyright strike you if you do it, and they.
See, I'm learning all new things.
I wanted to. I pulled it up so that if they see it, they can go watch it if they want to go watch it. But you have to be very precise. I would need somebody else not talking to just play the clip for 7 seconds, but it's literally 7 seconds and you have to stop it or they can copyright you.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
But if you have like reels and stuff or any of your stuff that you're like, hey, let's talk about this or whatever.
Yeah,
we can play a whole reel.
I can play anything from you
from Instagram.
that
We can do that.
we can do.
We just can't do it from YouTube.
Yeah.
Well, because I feel like Sasha and my friend Becky, that they have a few reels up. Those were the ones that the conservatives that were on the panel.
Yeah, I can play their Instagrams as long as they're. I can play their
reels. Yeah.
All right. Well, we can work on that another time.
I'll be the next one. Get ready for the collabs because I figured out how to collab, so I'm gonna collab with you shortly.
Yes, and make sure you text me, hey Jana, I just sent a collaboration, and I'll do it immediate, like as immediate as I can, because the sooner you do it, the better it is, and it's definitely better like in the morning, afternoon times. So
okay, you got it.
That's what I've noticed. I mean, just putting it out there.
I'm learning from you as much as you're learning from me. I'm ready. Like, let's go.
All right. Well, I hope y'all have a super awesome night.
It was super great having you on the
awesome to talk to you.
Well, you have a good night.
Bye.
Bye, girl. Yeah, she's so fun.
She does. I mean, I know I wasn't talking too much, but she has just such a perspective that you know she can share, and you know,
we're all learning from each other because we all come from different spaces.
Yeah.
And I think that's the one thing that liberals want us to have. They're just forcing us to do it.
I just feel like it's very much, if you don't accept me from head to toe exactly how I am and how I truly feel, that you are against me. And I used to feel like that. Used to feel like that. But at the end of the day, it was exhausting.
It is exhausting.
It's exhausting to constantly fight every single day to want or to get every single person in your day to like you.
Yeah.
And to accept you for who you are. I don't believe that anybody should be hurting anybody and going after anybody. So the stories of not walking in your shoes or whatever for certain experiences, like, do I think that you deserve that? No, I don't. I don't think that you deserved the bad shit that happened to you, and I didn't deserve the bad shit that happened to me. I didn't deserve to, walk down certain lines, and you know what I mean? Like, we don't deserve that. But very much like Jana said, to sit here and think that
you're not going to get it.
Yeah. And that we all are going to walk the same way and we're going to walk down the same line, I think is it's naive to think that way.
Yeah. And also too, and this is the last thing I'll say, and then I'll get off with all of my hot takes. It's very privileged of you to think that you can. It's very privileged of you to think that you can walk down the street and absolutely everybody's going to agree with you. Mm-hmm. So if you want to talk about privilege, that's super privilege. I'm never going to be able to do certain things because of the life that I've chosen to live. But people will tell me that I'm privileged. Mm-hmm. But you want everything to go your way, and that's not privilege, apparently. So
yeah. Yeah, and I mean, for me, I know who I am.
Yeah.
And I know what I look like. And I know the privilege that I have. And there's a lot of things in this world that I will never be questioned on.
Yeah.
I also am not liked by all because of the way that I look. Because I am white. And I don't take for granted, I don't throw my privilege around and walk like I'm better than everybody else.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Or that you're owed it.
Yeah.
Like,
listen, this is who I am. This is the body that I was born into. This is what I look like. This is who I am.
It's not anybody's fault.
So what I'm hearing you say is that I need to be mad at myself. I have to be mad at myself enough for you to feel like I accept you.
Yes, and we'll get into that another day. But yes, Clinton, thanks. Ow. Not wrong.